Welcome to This Wasn't on the Test, the podcast where knowledge meets humor in the most unexpected ways. Join Dr. Jake and Dr. Kayla, a couple with doctorates in their respective fields, and their sister Kelsey, who may not have a PhD but sure knows how to keep things light with her quick humor and relatable take on the world. Whether you're a scholar or just a curious mind, this trio will make you laugh, think, and you might even learn something new. Tune in to find out why this wasn't on the test. Welcome back to This Wasn't on the Test. I'm Kelsey, here with my brother and sister-in-law, Jake and Kayla. They are doctors, and I am not.
That's right.
Bingo. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
I was explaining our podcast to someone a little. We did a little hangout at. We have a place in town that's just like drinks and bowling and different like food stalls and stuff that we went and hung out at. And I was explaining our podcast to someone, and I'm like, well, you know, the premise is Jake and I have doctorates, and Jake's sister doesn't, which we make a point of saying as often as we can.
Fair.
This is part of the descriptor I used.
Anything else to the story? That's it? That's all you got?
No,
That's it.
just that I was pointing out that you're not a doctor.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not a doctor. I'll also point out that you're not a comedian, so good job. Okay, so we have some new developments here in the This Wasn't on the Test podcast world. I made our TikTok for ourselves. Yes, breaking news. I made a TikTok for us, and while I was making the TikTok, I don't have a doctorate, okay? So, self-explanatory. I did it wrong. And so for the next 30 days, our handle is... I wasn't understanding. I didn't realize that when it said, if you put this words here, it basically said, like, whatever you put here, you won't be able to change for 30 days. I thought it was, like, when I like, typed it in, I thought that it was, like, give me a second to, like, review it. No, it just sent it. So now our title is, I gotta get there, because now I can't remember what it is.
So it was like, type your username in here, and you're like, wait, is this going to be my username? And then you hit it, okay. And you're like, wait, that was my username?
I'm not following how you fucked this up.
I know. So it's at this period wasn't period on period the. That's our handle on TikTok. It'll change. Don't worry, guys. I'll change it once our days are up. It let me put, like, our name is This Wasn't on the Test, but our handle is This Wasn't on the.
When we start getting paid for this, you're only getting 10%.
I don't think that's very fair, but that's okay.
That's show business.
That's show business. Well, then I won't bring the humor.
No, we weren't counting on you for that anyways.
Yeah, you were. But anyways, so I made us a TikTok, and then I did that trend that is the, like, AI dancing trend. Did you guys watch that video?
I did watch that video.
Jake, did you watch that video?
Remind me which one it was? I may have. I just don't remember it.
It's like the picture of you guys holding me.
Oh.
And then it, like, AIs our bodies to dance.
Oh, is that what it does?
Oh my God, listen, can
I have spent the past how many days going, I don't remember dancing in that situation. So no, I don't think I knew about this AI dancing
Oh my
trend.
God, who doesn't have a doctorate now?
What?
Oh my God.
Oh, and I saw a video of myself dancing. I was like, I don't remember dancing.
Did you notice that your, like, teeth looked huge too?
I didn't look real
Oh my
close
God.
at it.
Jesus.
Yeah, you had, like, really super straight white teeth. Kayla's mouth is gaped open like it always is.
Oh, you fucking bitch. This is why I play Birdo when we do... This is why I'm Birdo when we play party. Just gaping open.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And I look wonderful, very nicely tanned and beautiful.
Fuck you.
But it's hilarious. A little backstory of that photo is, like, we have a bunch of photos of Jake and Kayla randomly holding me, so we had to keep the trend.
Why? I don't know how this started or how we got here.
Yeah, I don't know either. So No clue. But
I would also like to
Yeah.
point out that I downloaded TikTok for the first time in my adult life.
I haven't. Oh.
Made myself an account just so I could follow us. So who's committed to the bit now?
Well,
You
who's
could've just
listened
logged in
to
with
the
our account.
episodes? Let's take a survey of who's listened to the episodes that we've made.
me.
I've listened to an episode we've made.
If you like podcasts, I got a real nice podcast.
yeah.
If you let me go,
Can I offer you a podcast?
I'll
I've
let
never
you
heard it
listen
before,
to
but
A podcast.
a minute of the podcast. That's a Monsters Inc.
Okay,
reference.
so Kelsey doesn't understand the reference.
Have you seen Monsters Inc.?
no, don't get it.
Have you seen Monsters Inc.?
Yeah, I mean, but I don't.
Put that thing back where
I've
it
seen
came from, or
Monsters,
so help me.
Well, because he gets a
So
gets a
help
new
me.
car at the beginning.
Oh, I don't remember that part.
It's the new car thing's really short at the beginning, but at the end, when he's hostage, he's like asking his captor, the bad guy, like, "Do you like cars?" He's like, "'Cause I just got a new car," and he's like, "If you let
Oh.
me go, I'll give you a ride in the car." One of my
Kelsey
favorite
doesn't think
parts of
that's that funny.
I guess I don't remember it, but I'll have to rewatch it. Actually, I was just at my friend Angela's house. Shout out to Angela. Whoop whoop. She painted my nails. Pride nails. Do you guys like them? They're little rainbow squigglies.
Oh my god, I love that.
Happy Pride to all the girls, gays, and theys, and everybody who is an ally and celebrates and supports people. And it's Pride Fest weekend here in Milwaukee, and so I got my nails painted for Pride Fest
My
because we're going to all the different things.
my gay bestie coworker told me today, and I quote, "I'm a fag in a crop top during Pride Month. You can't tell me what to do." I said,
Well,
you know,
good for
I got
them.
nothing. you might be right. You
Yeah.
might be right.
So anyway, so I went over there and she was like, she like, I think she said a reference at some point tonight. And then she was like, I guess your brother and sister-in-law were right in that podcast episode when they said you don't know any references.
For real
I
though.
was like, literally, I don't know any
Literally.
references. Literally.
You need to start watching those
You know-
things that we recommend.
I have started watching some of them, but that doesn't mean I'm going to know the reference.
You should pay attention to the things when you watch them.
I do pay attention. My capability of retention is like so incredibly low. I think that maybe I have something wrong with me, but that's okay.
It's called ADHD, sunshine.
Yeah, that's true.
How percentage wise how much percent of a movie do you think your eyes are looking at the screen when you're watching it?
Depends on the movie.
Ooh, me about 10% consistently. I am 10% watching anything I'm watching.
I've never seen you look at a TV in your life.
Exactly.
But I
I
do.
retain all
Like,
of
I
what's going
watched-
on. Like Jake
Except
called me
then you're
out.
like, "What's happening?" I was like, "Well,
Okay.
there wasn't any audio when this thing happened on the screen."
You know what?
Oh,
Thought we were going to have a real good night tonight. We went out and did fun things. We both won at
We did
Boombox
both.
Bingo.
We did both win bingo.
We both won bingo. And my whole table of coworkers was like fucking pissed. They're like, "You assholes."
how cute!
We both won. Jake won a $20 gift card to the place we were at, and I won a t-shirt. Like, I got to pick any of their merch from the place we were at. And they were
Cool.
all
That's fun.
jealous of my merch more than his gift card. It
Yeah,
was good merch.
very cool. Well, that's cool. All right. Well, should we get into it? Any other updates?
I do have
for
one other update
The
relevant to the
podcast
podcast
crowd.
that'll be funny as heck. So I
like actually funny or just like kind of like you're funny?
no, it's actually funny. So
Oh,
I
okay.
quote I had to apply for 2 different new jobs. It's a whole complicated slew of things. Anyways, so for the past 3 years I've been doing Gifted and Talented full time. So next year what I'm doing, I can say it now, it's official, everything has happened, all the things have gone through. I'm doing half of my day will be Gifted and Talented, and half of my day I'll be an instructional coach. It's like I get to help teach teachers. Yay. And so, but because I was moving into a different GT position than I already have, it's a new position that was just created this year, this halftime one, because of the numbers of kids that we have. I had to, quote, interview for it. And so I figured this was just going to be real low key, but then like my boss was like, "Are you available to come in for an interview on this day at this time?" And I'm like, "Oh God, yeah, I can." Okay, that's when we're going to do interviews. And I'm like, "Shit, okay." So that was today. So I woke up and I, fucking showered and I wore a blazer like in real shoes. Like it's summertime. I put on real shoes and real pants. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And I get there and this group of assholes had pre-plotted against me to come up with the most unhinged interview questions, because we have a set of questions that we use for these interviews. Not for mine. It was like, if your gifted middle school students had a superpower, what would it be? And how would you, keep them from using their telekinesis to rearrange the desks? If you were stranded on a deserted island with nothing but yarn and a crochet hook, what would be the best survival tool you could have? If you were a school supply, what would you be? And why would it be the most useful to you? Like, seriously. These were the questions. I had questions about communicating with dolphins, solving world hunger with a potato, explaining the metaphysics of a gluten-free pizza. Like,
Wow.
like,
educators really have a different form of humor, I guess.
They trolled me. They trolled me real hard. Like, I thought this was going to be for real. And I come into the room to like interview and they're all like sitting there like panel style. And I'm like, holy fuck. No.
Yeah, you can see that they take the hiring process very seriously.
Okay. I was the only applicant for the part-time
they'll hire
job.
a rock, so.
What'd you say?
Said they'll hire a rock, so.
No, I was the only applicant for a part-time job. Because I knew there was another part-time job available to me, and
so you took the part-time
I have
job.
2 part-time jobs now.
Oh, that's cool.
It's cool. So I'll be, and all of them are at one school, so I get to stay at one school next year.
Nice. No more traveling.
No more traveling. I'll be at one
Yeah,
school.
that's nice.
Be at one school. It's a school that Emmy's at. So I'll be
And the one that's closer to our house.
And the one that's closer to our house. And I'll be there
Nice.
because we were having to arrange, because like Emmy can't ride the bus home because the school that she's going to is not in our district, so the bus won't come to our house. So like it was going to be an easy arrangement for, the afternoons for picking her up, because both of our schools would get done at the same time, but I'd have to drive to where she is and pick her up, and it was going to be fine. But now I'm just in the building.
Yeah, it's so nice. You can just walk over to your classroom.
Yep. So it'll be really, really nice. It has all worked out very nicely. And I'm excited.
Nice. That's exciting. Congrats.
Thanks. And now I'm on the administration team, which is very fancy.
Oh, yeah. It's fun being in administration.
I know. I've moved up in the world. I've gotten a little bit of a promotion.
Very cool. How do you feel that your undoctored sister was in administration before you?
Don't care.
Well. Okay, well, thanks for the update. What are we talking about today, guys? I don't really remember because my retention levels are 0.
Holes. Black holes.
Which holes are we talking?
Black holes like your ass.
It's black. Well. You know what I mean, the inside of it.
I don't think it is, though. Biologically, it's probably not.
Well, it's dark. I don't know.
Jake's talking about black holes, and I'm talking about teacher certification.
Cool. So who's talking first?
I think it's Jake's turn to go first.
Yep.
Cool.
You're not going to make me cry like Kayla made me cry last week?
You cried at Jake's last week, and it was about a train.
Because you understood a physics thing.
Wow.
So don't even play with me.
I know.
So he might make
You made me cry more, though.
Yeah, I did. I made myself cry. So.
Yeah.
There was a
Cool.
There's a warning label on that one for a reason.
Yeah, I put a additional
Yeah.
trigger warning on the description of the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good
Don't
call.
listen to it if you're not here for it. We understand.
Yes.
All right.
All right, ready to get into it?
I'm ready.
Yep. Go for
All
it.
right. So, we'll just launch off with the question right away. I want you to define what a black hole is. and try to keep it. I want to know like more of like a physical definition than like kind of there's like a thing that everybody knows about black holes, right, Kelsey? There's a thing that everybody knows about black holes.
I know a lot about black holes.
Go ahead. You're first.
You're up.
Define what a black hole is.
Okay. How to define this? Well, not great at defining things. It's like a reaction within space matter that makes essentially like a vacuum suck that pulls things in through the atmosphere into the nether.
So it is your asshole.
Yeah.
Those were a lot of words. I'll agree on that.
Those were words that can describe things.
That's my scientific description of a black hole.
Okay.
It's like a rip in like space-time.
A rip in space-time. I mean, I guess I wouldn't necessarily say a rip in space-time.
A hole?
That's exactly what I said.
That's not what you said.
But how does it happen?
You didn't ask.
Particles
That's not what you
combusting.
asked.
Well, that's kind of the definition. How do they form?
From a star exploding.
Floating, I would say.
Star imploding.
More imploding.
Combustion.
Thanks,
Albuquerque. Snorkel. You probably haven't seen that movie either. National Treasure.
No,
Oh
but
my
it's,
god.
No.
Well, the thing that everybody's supposed to know is that light can't escape black holes, right?
Hence the vacuum.
Yes,
See?
a vacuum.
Have to have a flared base.
But why? Why can't light escape from black holes?
This was not the question you asked. You've now
I'm
asked
asking
like
more
4
questions.
questions.
I'm
I have a
asking
question.
more questions.
I have a question about black holes. So, can black holes only happen in space, or can one just like pop up on
Everywhere
Earth?
is space.
I know, but like, could a black hole just like all of a sudden pop up right next to my head?
Theoretically, yes. That's still space.
Okay.
Everything
When we're
is part
talking
of the
about
universe.
space-time,
Everything is space.
Every point in the universe is a part of space. We
Right.
call that
Okay, that
outer
makes
space
sense.
is what you meant to say.
Oh yes. Do black holes only happen in outer
No.
space?
Practically, yes. Theoretically, they don't have to be.
Okay, so has a black hole ever happened anywhere besides outer space?
I mean, we have no way of knowing that.
Is there any do we have any proof of a black hole happening anywhere
No.
other than outer space?
No.
So, no on that. Okay. But in theory, a black hole could happen anywhere.
Yeah, actually, there's
Got
a lot
it.
of concern around the Large Hadron Collider that it would create
Create a black
holes.
hole. Oh, I remember that. I remember reading that. Why?
Wow.
So how is a black hole created? How about you just answer that for us? We tried. We did our best.
Well, I mean, black holes are like regions of space where the mass density is so great that the gravity warps the space-time such that light can't even get out. Like, have you ever seen...
Why is the gravity that dense?
Because there's so much mass in that area,
Why?
in a small area.
Why?
Well, for a bunch of different reasons. Like
What's the main one?
that a star collapses.
Boom. I win.
Yeah, that's like I wouldn't necessarily say implosion. I'll get into a little bit of the details in a second, but
That's pretty much what I meant. I just couldn't come up with the right word. Like a star has died. Like it's
yeah, but like think of like a whirlpool in the ocean, and like if there's like a boat that's caught in the whirlpool and like it can't like push itself out. That's like light in a black hole where there's space-time is converging into the middle of it, and the light is kind of spinning around, but it can't go fast enough to get over like the edge.
Can light
of that
ever get
region.
out? Like even theoretically?
No.
No. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
So where does a black hole go to? I have so many questions.
It's just a spot in space that
But where does it go? Because the light like can't get out. Like where does it go?
inside of it. They have a radius.
Okay, but like, is it? I don't even know.
Okay.
Is it
let
like
me
a
ask
cup?
question.
Is it like a cup or like a tunnel? Does that make sense? Like, I can't figure out a better way to ask it. Like, does it get stuck inside of something like a cup? Or is it like a
I would
tunnel
say
where it like
it's
goes
more
through
like
to somewhere else?
It's more like a cup.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
That's
so I have
a good question.
If,
though.
Thank you. Thank you.
if there was a black hole, could you jump into it?
Yes.
And then you can't
And
ever
would you
get out.
die?
Yes. Well, that's kind of hard to say.
Has anyone ever done it?
Because nobody's gone into
we've
one.
never got.
Have we ever
never
like
even
sent like a
gotten close.
probe into a black hole?
No, there's no black holes to our knowledge anywhere here.
That's not what
Interesting.
Interstellar told me.
That's true, Kayla.
Okay, sorry. This turned into like Question Palooza.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I had so many.
I think it's interesting.
So many questions.
Yeah, so like just like basically of like what a black hole is it's a region of space where the mass density is so great that light can't even escape its radius. So like it's fundamentally the black hole goes to a single point in space. But based on how much mass is within it's enclosed in, there is a radius, like a practical radius, just like a star or a planet has a radius. Black holes have have a radius. So
are there some scientists that theorize that like a black hole would be like a mode of like teleportation? Like if you could get into a black hole,
nobody
it would
thinks
bring you to a different...
thinks that in actuality.
Oh,
So once you're in, you're in.
Now wormholes are different.
Oh, can we talk about both of those things?
I
in
don't
this
know
episode?
a lot about wormholes, and they're very much more theoretical than anything. We have observed black holes. We know those exist.
So I have two questions. Number one, what is the gravitational pull of a black hole? Like, how close can you get to it before it sucks you in?
It only depends on how much mass is inside of it.
Okay. Follow up. Is the collapse of a star the only thing that can create a black hole? It's not really follow up. It's just a second question.
No, I would say no.
There's a question in that answer.
Yeah, I know. I think it's more that answer is more of a like, well, any mass condensed to a small enough space would create a black hole, technically.
But does that only happen with stars collapsing?
In nature, I think that's really the only way that it happens.
So
I'm just saying
this is again
like,
one of those like theoretical versus actual situations. Theoretically, more things, but
my point is like the definition of it doesn't have anything to do with a star. Yeah. It's just that's how it happens in nature.
But in actuality, that's how it happens.
Yeah.
Got it.
And so I'll say like how it happens is that when a star is burning its fuel, like there's a lot of matter inside of that star, and the burning of the matter equates to kinetic energy, and that is like pushes the energy outwards. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like what we see is like a bunch of energy being released from the star. Well, that energy opposes outwardly the gravity from like the amount of mass inside of a star. So what happens is as stars get older and older, they burn up their fuel, which means that there's like less energy and pressure pushing outwards, that the gravity overcomes that, and then it all just collapses down in on itself.
Oh. Is that how you get a shooting star? Like it goes...
A shooting star isn't actually a star.
Oh.
True? Like, I didn't just make that up.
You didn't make that up.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. We only say that because
it looks
in reference to what you're looking at, it looks like a star.
Yeah. Jake, do you remember that one shooting star that we saw when we were in Mom's backyard and it was like the size of a fire truck hurling across the sky?
I've seen a couple
in
weird...
the old house, like the old house we grew up in.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I do remember.
You remember that?
Yes.
It was like the biggest.
That was weird.
Star.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I still don't know what that is.
UFO by definition.
Yes, UFO by definition. It might have been like it was really slow, like really slow. That was the weird thing about it. I do remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was really slow. Like it seemed like it was like 8 seconds of.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like slowly going across the sky. It was pretty strange.
So do stars have a finite amount of fuel available to them?
Yeah, I mean,
and how is that? How is that determined?
They go to a star gas station. And
well, this is a whole lot about how stars form.
Okay, so I need to like put a pin on this. We need to have a whole separate episode.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Never mind. Back to it.
But I mean, in general, just regions of space have.
We're just apparently very interested in the physics of space here in this podcast.
I think a lot of people are.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Like you just have like nebulas. You've heard of those? Those are places in the universe where like a lot of just material is, and like over time, like because of gravity and a long enough time, all like matter will like kind of converge together, and then eventually just be like it accumulates to the point where the pressure pushes it together where it starts igniting, kind of. So like it's just over a long enough time, like you have like some hydrogen over here and some hydrogen over here, and there's just empty space in between them. Well, there's gravity that's pulling them together. So over a long enough time, it just pulls the matter all together.
And they turn into a star?
Yeah.
Cool. This was a fun side quest, but like this felt helpful to me.
Mm-hmm. So I covered...
Good to know.
I covered how like black holes kind of form at a very basic. So when that happens, stars collapse. It condenses because when that happens, you've got the radius of that entity becoming smaller because it's pushing everything inside. And because that means that the volume of that like spherical object gets smaller and smaller, but the mass is staying the same. So that means that the density is going up and up.
Oh.
And so it kind of becomes like a runaway process where the volume is getting bigger, or the volume is getting smaller and smaller as it compresses in, meaning that the density goes up and up to the point where that density is so great that like it changes the geography, not geography. I use that word again, topology of the space-time in that area. So that that's where you kind of get the funnel type shape of space. Not really, but you can think of it like that.
In terms of a black hole?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so if you like send things past it, they would start curving around it.
Is this like one of those like coin shooter things that they would have at the front of grocery stores?
Yeah, but you have to think about it in 3 dimensions coming to a central point. So you'd have to like rotate it in all directions, like, but that's like going into a point.
Oh.
Yeah. That's why some people don't like those examples to describe black holes, because it's not like you're going along in space in a plane and like falling. It's 3-dimensional.
Yeah.
But
so it could be like suck you in from above, like.
Yeah, the orientation doesn't matter.
It can happen anywhere and take and go from any spot, really.
Yeah. The radius of that like entity when it becomes a black hole, it's called the Schwarzschild radius, named after a person. But they call that the event horizon, and that's the point where once you go past that spot,
you're getting sucked in.
You can't get out, and light can't get out. So
I have heard that term before. I don't know where. Probably in some movie.
Yeah, there's a movie called Event Horizon.
No. It's like in a movie.
But yeah, that's something that gets
maybe
says
Armageddon
around black hole. But
I forgot how much you loved Armageddon.
I really did. Like,
that was like maybe the first movie that I watched that made me cry. Like in my life. Like I very, very vividly remember watching that with you and then sobbing watching.
Dude, all of my like early teen years, I was obsessed with the sad movies. A Walk to Remember, The Notebook, Armageddon. I was here for all of it.
Arachnophobia.
No. That was not. I don't think I've
Just
ever
like
seen that.
watching teenage girls die. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Yes. Thank you for coming.
What was the spider one called again? Not arachnophobia.
There is one called
Hangman's Curse.
Hangman's Curse, yeah.
Yes.
There was a movie called Arachnophobia.
Yeah, no, but
about
that wasn't the
spiders.
one. I knew that
Yeah.
wasn't the one she was talking about.
I always call it arachnophobia, but it's actually called Hangman's Curse.
Yes. Yes, it was.
Anyway, I mentioned that we've observed black holes. So my second question is like, how do we find black holes?
I'm assuming like looking for discrepancies in like I feel like satellites or telescopes or something, and like finding like discrepancies in space, being like,
What type of discrepancies?
I don't know, discrepancies in gravity,
Like energy.
mass.
You're starting to get it there.
Am I getting there?
But like, I mean, yes, we are looking at things gravitationally, but there's kind of a specific answer. And
where light disappears, where there is no light.
well, that's the thing is how can we ever like point a telescope at a black hole and say there's a black hole, because light doesn't come out of it, so we can't see it.
Absence of light in a specific area.
Well, a lot of when I look up at night, there's a lot of space there. There's the absence of light.
But you have human eyeballs, not an expensive telescope. So
I know it can see even better the absence of light. But like, that's what I mean is you wouldn't be able to tell a black hole from.
Could you
the
see it? Is
background.
it like an absence of light, but then you also can see like things getting sucked into it? And then when it's getting
nice, Kelsey.
sucked in, like you can see the motion of it.
That's right. Yeah.
Look,
You got it, Kelsey. Yeah.
Thank you.
So that is what we do. It
This is what it feels like, Kelsey. Take a moment, breathe it in. This is
Thank
it.
you. Do I get an honorary doctorate now?
You can have an honorary thumbs up.
So
Thank you.
yeah, that's pretty much exactly right. So what they'll do is they'll like look at some object with a telescope, and they'll see that it's like going in a circle, but it's not orbiting anything. And it's like, that's kind of weird. Like, why? How is this thing going around something else? But we would, if it was a star, we would see that. So that's kind of like how they find black holes, is they find something. And the thing is, the closer you get to the black, so a lot of orbits of things are not actually circular, they're elliptical.
Yeah.
So that's like an oval.
I did know that.
Like an oval shape. And
yeah.
the thing is, in that when you have like an oval shaped thing, the thing that you're orbiting is going to be at one focus of the ellipse, which is like kind of like the center of the curvature of the edges of the thing. And so when you go around an ellipse, you get faster because you have to like cover the same amount of distance in the same amount of time. So when you get closer to the thing that you're orbiting, you kind of slingshot around it. So what they'll see is they'll see things that like will suddenly go around, because it'll go like, if I go this way, like slow, and then whoop, and they'll see that where it goes like really fast around something. You see that like with a lot of like other celestial objects, but like with black holes, you'll see that with like nothing that it's going around. So there's that. There's also quasar, things called quasars, and that's like where a star gets like interacted with by a black hole and gets ripped apart. And so that like ignited star material just gets sprayed into the universe. So they'll see
create other
those
little mini stars, or
No.
does it?
I don't know a lot about quasars, but that's what happens is like the black hole rips it apart because the star just gets too close and then just gets destroyed.
Not close enough to get sucked in, but not far enough away to survive.
Yeah.
How long does the black hole last? Like, is there any studies on that? Like, is it?
Ooh, good question. I like that one.
That is related to my
Is that your
my
next
last
question?
Kind of.
Kelsey, Jesus.
Yeah, you're on it today.
I'm a black hole expert. Who would have thought?
So we'll start getting into that. So my third question is, it's going to sound out of nowhere, but what is Hawking radiation?
Oh my
Is it
God.
something to do with a hawk tua?
No, it has to do with
Wow.
Stephen Hawking, you idiot. I remember this from watching the movie.
Okay.
But I can't tell you what it is.
Which movie?
The Theory of
The
Everything.
Theory of Everything.
Oh.
Great movie.
We're watching that when you guys come up here.
Yes, we're
Right.
watching that, and we're watching Everything Everywhere All at Once and Interstellar. If you haven't seen it by then, we're there for 2 weeks.
You are.
We got time.
Okay. So something about Stephen Hawking.
He's the one who kind of came up with the idea.
Right. It was a theory that he had about. I think isn't it about like the radiation that escapes a black hole?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's all I got. The best I got. I remember the part of the movie it was at. I remember it, but like
Yeah. I mean, you're pretty much spot on with that.
Okay.
But think about the statement that you said.
Nothing is supposed to escape a black hole, but this radiation
what?
does.
What? I thought you said. Yeah, exactly. So that's what Hawking radiation is radiation that gets emitted by a black hole. But it's counterintuitive. But essentially what happens is that near the event horizon, like we're talking about like at a very like the quantum microscopic level, at kind of this arbitrary point in space that the radius of this black hole is, like at that boundary in space, there's a lot of detail in this, but I'm trying to kind of skip over that. What happens is that due to the uncertainty principle, there's pairs of particles that can spontaneously
Good work.
Get created. They kind of come out of like the vacuum of space, and then they're like would recombine. And so it's like kind of like they never there, but just because of the nature of quantum mechanics and the uncertainty principle, they can live for a very short amount of time and then disappear again. So but since they're right next up against the event horizon, what happens is that they split up, and then one of those falls into the black hole. Okay. And it happens like fast enough. This is the way you can think about it. But it happens fast enough that it sucks away that one of those two, and you're left with an orphaned photon that can leave the black hole.
Oh.
And so the energy to create the pair had to come from the black hole, because you can't just make energy out of nothing. But you have one half of that energy that's not getting reabsorbed back into the black hole, and so it leaves never to be seen again by that black hole.
Is that like observable in nature?
It's not really, because we're talking about like.
Then how do we know it happens?
That we can't really know if it's real or not.
So it's just made
Just
up.
another thing science is making up.
So I can just make up shit and be like, well, we can't observe it in nature, so I guess you just have to trust me.
Pretty much.
Found my new career path.
Your next doctorate.
My next doctorate is in bullshit.
But if you think about that happening, like just spontaneously, constantly, the energy has to come from the black hole. So when every time that happens, where one half of that escapes, that's energy that's being drawn from the black hole. And so over a long enough scale of time, you use up all of the energy of the black hole. And so it evaporates. And so then there's just no more black hole. It's just back to normal space there, because all of the energy has dissipated from that black hole. The thing is, that has to be a black hole that's not being like fed material constantly. So if there's like stars that are being ripped apart and falling into the black hole, that's more energy. Like, this is a pretty special case. And I mean, and the length of time that it takes for this to happen is extraordinarily long because it's so little amount of energy on like each of those interactions. It just takes so long to actually have any sort of meaningful amount dissipate from it. So you can calculate it. I'm pretty sure I have done that in one of my classes I took. I don't have numbers on hand, but like a very long time. Now they do a lot of these things with like theoretically with like small black holes. And
Yeah.
so like those like would dissipate almost instantaneously.
Question.
Yeah.
Could they make like a tiny artificial black hole in a laboratory to
That's
study?
what they were worried about at the LHC.
I know, but can they like do it on purpose in a controlled way to like study black holes? Like, is that a thing that they could do, or would it become like a force of its own and become out of control and we would all just get sucked up and die?
So I don't think that would I think that there might be experiments that are proposing to do so. But
Can we go on a field trip to the LHC?
That'd be pretty awesome.
Can we go on a podcast field trip? We can like, it's a business it's a business expense.
Make it a vlog.
Yeah.
A vlog situation.
Right.
There
It's
you
a
go.
business expense. We need to like bill it to our business account. Do we have one of those?
We
Not
don't.
yet.
Oh shit. Okay. Never mind.
Eventually.
Right.
But in any case, the idea is that they're so small that they basically dissipate immediately. I actually had a friend in college who did a research poster on like if the LHC did create black holes, what would the consequence be?
Ooh.
And the result was that they were just so small, and they would immediately start orbiting the Earth, and they wouldn't accumulate any matter. They would just
So is there
dissolve or evaporate.
Is there a size of black like it couldn't even if they could make one, like how oh my god, I have so many. Could it even be like contained to be studied? Like
Yeah,
Like
that's
in a
kind of
like in a
that is one
vacuum
of the
type
problems.
situation?
That is one of the problems.
Okay.
Is because we're talking about like a point in space, and like
Right.
space can move. We talked about this last week with like time travel. Like
Mm-hmm.
you'd have to go back to the point in space you were too. Like black holes can move. Like they do travel.
Right.
Like that point in space just warps space everywhere. So like when you make a black hole on Earth, because our planet is spinning, it starts launching the black hole into like orbit around the planet essentially.
So that's what I was saying. Like, even if they could figure out how to make them, can they like figure out how to like
Yeah,
keep it in a
because-
place to
Right.
study
You
it?
can't
Okay.
because it's basically like a region of mass in space
Right.
that's just kind of moving. So it would get influenced by our gravity, why it kind of goes around our planet until it dissolves or evaporates. So
I'd be okay with them making a black hole that sucks up just the United States.
give me some warning.
Right. Like let me
Yeah,
evacuate
let us get to
first.
Europe. Let us get to Europe and then suck this country right up.
Bada bing, bada boom.
So, I guess I got one last kind of little thought experiment. So,
If you start talking about barns and ladders one more fucking time.
no. So we just talked about black holes evaporating, right? So that's like, just like it's gone after it evaporates. But everything that goes into a black hole, like, was something at one point in time. It's like, what happens to the information?
It's gone. It evaporates
That's it.
out into the ether forever and ever.
That's what Stephen Hawking
Have
thought.
you checked your black hole? Beat up, butt up, black hole.
Well, it's just an interesting.
That's what Stephen
thing.
Hawking thought? Are you saying that I'm as smart as Stephen Hawking? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Shut up.
Yeah, so
Doctorate in
Don't
physics.
let it get to your head.
I'm going to.
yeah,
I'm putting as smart as Stephen Hawking on my resume. It's going there right the fuck now.
Put it in your email signature.
Put it in my email thing. Dr. Kayla Berg, as smart as Stephen Hawking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What is it? EDD.
EDD / Stephen
As smart
Hawking
as Stephen
equivalent.
Wasn't he in a wheelchair?
Yes, we
Yeah,
talked
he
about
had
this.
ALS.
Yep.
ALS, that's right. Okay. Just trying to keep all of my people straight. You know.
But yeah, I guess just think about that, like with the information of what went in there. Like after it evaporates, there's just nothing there. Like, but where did all of that stuff go? And the information.
I mean, all the particles collide and it turns to dust. Bye-bye. Nothing left.
But it's
They all cancel each other out and just turn into nothing.
well, in any case, there's
Is there an answer to this? Do they know what happens?
physicists kind of widely accept that the information
Widely accept,
doesn't
which means
get-
they don't know.
well, it's hello, I'm a scientist. We can't actually interact with a black hole to do any experiments on it, so we can only
Hi, we're scientists. We're just really smart people that pretend like we know everything, but we actually don't know a damn thing.
yeah.
Correct.
There was actually a
Mm.
little bit of a feud between Stephen Hawking and another physicist named Leonard Susskind. And actually, I have the book over there. It's called Black Hole War. And it's a lot about like these two guys got debating over what happens between like with the information that goes into a black hole.
And what's
There's-
Interesting.
who won? What's the
Well,
right
that's
answer?
what I said is that it's people kind of widely think that the information does survive going into a black hole.
So then where does it go?
There's a thing called you're gonna have to do. This is independent study I'm assigning on the holographic principle. Essentially, the information gets imprinted onto the outside of the black hole when information goes in. I don't know if you've ever seen the theory is that if you would watch somebody go into a black hole, it's kind of like they would get frozen in like time when you looked at it. Like they would like start moving, and then they just kind of stop and get frozen on that.
I've seen
outside.
that, and it's like a spiral around them, essentially.
Spiral.
Like a lot of matter moving all over the place. Like isn't like really staticky around their frozen in time body.
I don't know what you mean by staticky, but the point being
I
that
don't
it
know.
would like look like you're kind of imprinted on the outside of the black hole.
It's like, Han Solo and Carbonite.
Just like just like that.
Kelsey.
I do know that
I was like,
reference.
Kelsey, do you know that reference? Han
I
Solo
do
and
know that
Case and
reference.
Carbonite.
Actually, I know somebody who knows the person who owns that piece of whatever from
You know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy who has the prop.
who owns the prop, and they like wheel it around New York City and get it autographed.
That's wild.
It's weird. I don't know
All right.
why I know that.
I met Kylo Ren one time. Very briefly because my kid was
Like-
The
screaming.
character at
The
Disney
character.
World.
Oh,
Very briefly because my
Yeah.
child decided to scream.
cool. Okay, thanks,
So-
Jake. That was fun to learn about black holes.
Mm.
That was actually really interesting.
It was. Moving along, Kayla, you are talking about teacher certifications.
Teacher certifications.
There's no way it can be as interesting as black holes.
It's
so
not.
Good luck. Have fun.
Wow. Okay. Rude. Let me open my Lisa Frank notebook. Shouldn't even care. She's not even
Do you really
looking.
have a Lisa Frank? I was
Don't-
waiting for the
don't you
transition.
see it?
Very-
You just have to look at it to
Wow.
know that's Lisa Frank.
Yeah, it is Lisa Frank.
I
didn't realize.
I won at a after school reading library book fair event. I won a pack of Lisa Frank shenanigans. I have a Lisa Frank binder, a Lisa Frank
Oh,
notebook,
fun.
and a Lisa Frank folder, and I'm fucking pumped. And my school kids, none
I
of them
totally forgot about Lisa Frank.
none of them picked it, and I'm like, oh my god, it's a Lisa Frank set, and they're like, a what? And I'm like, get away from me. None of none of my school children appreciate the Lisa Frank stuff, which is fine because then it got left for me.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah.
Okay.
That's so fun. I totally forgot about Lisa Frank.
Listen.
I just followed her on Instagram.
I found Lisa Frank stickers. I have a pack of like 1,000 Lisa Frank stickers at Five Below. And when I was signing kids' yearbooks this year at the end of the year, I put a Lisa Frank sticker by every one of my signatures.
Oh, that's cool.
It made me so happy. And they're like, cool. They don't care. They don't care. Listen, putting a sticker on any assignment a middle schooler does will instantly bring them joy. They still love a sticker. So what I do, because I'm an asshole, I only give them a sticker if they got a, 100% on whatever assignment. So like their friends will be like, why didn't I get a sticker? And their friend will be like, you only got an 18 out of 20. That's why you didn't get a sticker.
Yeah, you got to be getting 100%.
They're like, you got to be getting a 20 out of 20 to get that sticker. Sorry. It's great. It's great. Anyways, teacher certification. Way less exciting. So, when you want to get certified to be a teacher, the typical starting point is to go through a teacher preparation program, which is usually a bachelor's degree. Like you end up starting with, like, I went to teacher school. I went to school to be a teacher.
I got one of those.
You didn't get a bachelor's degree in teacher shit, though. But
no, but they'll take anybody these days. So
fuck off. Why are you all trying to belittle my job?
We're not belittling it.
I work hard.
We never said you don't. Jake might have. I have never.
Jake makes comments about this time of year when he has to get up and go to work, and I'm still laying my lazy ass in bed.
I know. I've heard him.
Yep. I don't care. I don't feel bad about it. My usual response is like, well, maybe you should be like me and work really hard for 10 months and then we'll give you 2 months off. But since you just slack off 12 months out of the year.
Yeah.
Anyways. So I was trying to get an actual count, but there are so many like areas that you can get certified in because of how it's broken down. And it's broken down into two things, basically. It's broken down by like subject area and grade level ranges. So my first question is, what are the grade level ranges for teacher certification? I will give you, there are 5.
Oh shit, that's a lot more than I thought there was going to be.
There are 5 grade level ranges.
I was going to say elementary, middle, and high school, but there's no way that can be it. So there's got to be like a preschool one, so like 18-month-olds to 3 or 4-year-olds.
Okay, I'll give you that one. We call that one early childhood. It's usually like
okay.
Things differ state to state, so it's usually like birth to 5 or like pre-K/kindergarten. It's called early childhood.
Okay,
but yes,
so
that is one.
Fun. Then we have elementary.
Correct. What grade levels does elementary cover?
That would be 1st through 5th.
The answer here depends on the state. Kentucky,
that's what I was gonna say.
Kentucky is K5. Wisconsin is 1-8.
Oh.
Things be different everywhere. Okay, next.
Yeah, interesting. Middle school, which would be like 6 to 8.
Middle school in Kentucky is 5 through 9. So there's usually a little bit of overlap either way, 5 through 9. Even though 5th grade is in elementary school, 9th grade is in high school, but it's called middle grades. A middle grade certification is 5th through 9th. Okay, next.
Okay, and then high school certification.
Okay, which is what grades?
10 through 12.
8 through 12.
Or 9 through 12.
8 through 12.
Oh, interesting.
Again, there's a little bit.
There's like a little
wiggle
overlap.
room either way. Yeah. Which I mean makes sense. We've had several teachers with like high school certifications start teaching in the middle school at 8th grade, and then if you've taught in, like if you have a high school certification, this is where certification gets weird. If you have a high school certification and you're teaching in grade 8 in a middle school, which you're certified to do, after so many years, you can apply to have your certification extended to include middle school. And this is where it gets weird too in other states. So like in Wisconsin, the secondary education certification is grades 6 through 12. It doesn't distinguish between middle school and high school. But in Kentucky, they do. So when I graduated in Wisconsin, my certification was English 612. So when I came down here, the way they transferred my certificate, which was thankfully painless, I ended up getting 2 certificates. I have the English 5.9 and the English 8.12. They gave me both of them. Which makes sense. Okay, so that's 4. There's one more.
The secret 13th grade.
It's not the secret 13th grade.
I'm right.
Special
I'm starting the
advanced placement.
brainstorming my YA novel about the 13th grade.
I love this. Kelsey's close.
That was what I was going to say.
Special education does fit under this grade level umbrella. There are
is there like the whole range in one?
K-12.
Yeah.
There's a K-12 range, which usually applies for special education is K-12, gifted and talented is K-12. So could you imagine? I'm certified that I could teach kindergarten. Could you imagine? Anyways.
You would jump off the
No,
bridge.
actually.
No. A lot of related arts things like music, art, PE. A lot of those are K-12 certs. And then library science is K-12.
Oh. So if you want to teach any of those, you have to have the K-12 certification.
Well, when you like get your degree in those
get.
things, you would get the K-12 certification. It
Oh,
certifies you to. So,
work with
like
NEH.
my bachelor's degree was in secondary education English. So secondary is middle high school. So I could teach middle high school English. Then when I did my master's is in library science. So because it's a library media degree, I can teach K-12. I can be a librarian K-12.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So it gets very specific in terms of like you have your age range and you have your subject. It's not just like you can teach anything K-12 or you can teach.
So you target the certification that you need for the job that you are planning to get.
Right.
Yeah.
But then we do have extenuating circumstances where based on like need, there's an emergency certification option in Kentucky. It's called, there's an emergency certification option. Like you don't have anyone in a position, you need someone to fill that position. You have someone who's, going to school, has started classes, is almost done doing classes for that certification area. You can emergency certify them.
Otherwise qualified.
Right. You can get them emergency certified. And there's a lot of contingencies that I don't know the specifics of, like, okay, you can work in this job for X amount of time and you have to have completed A, B, and C by that time in order to, keep that certification. Or you have so many
bureaucratic.
Right. Or you have so many years to finish your degree and get formally certified. You can only be emergency certified for so many years. Like it's all kinds of bananas. And then we also have option 6 teachers, which are people who usually have, why are you counting? I don't know why it's option 6. I don't know why. But it's usually people who already have a bachelor's degree and are going to go back or have begun working on their master's in like a teaching degree. Like their bachelor's is not teaching, but they're going to get their master's in teaching. But because they've gone this route, they can be option 6 certified, which means they can start working in a school teaching, even though they're not done with their degree program.
So technically, like Jake could do that.
Yes.
If you wanted to.
Correct.
If you wanted to enroll for another.
And it would
degree.
it's usually like related to their
education.
subject areas. So he could probably teach middle or high school science as an option 6 teacher while getting his teaching degree. And those teachers usually have there's very specific programs to it. They have to have a mentor teacher in the school, a mentor teacher at the district level. Like there's a lot of built-in support for those teachers because they're not going to go your traditional route of student teaching, of being in a classroom teaching students with a safety net, basically, is what student teaching is you've got a whole certified teacher who's done this for a hot minute in there with you. Well, if you're an option 6 teacher, you haven't done that. You've gone from never teaching to being in a classroom. So that's a lot of what I'll get to do in my instructional coach job next year is to help those. We have a high population of option 6 teachers, just across the board because of the climate and people don't want to be teachers and whatever. So a lot of my job for next year is going to be helping and supporting those teachers, like new teachers, option 6 teachers.
It's all these people that were told that they had to get college degrees in order to have any sort of job
Value.
as an adult,
Sorry.
but didn't do teaching because like they maybe didn't need to go to college in the first place. So you've got a lot of people who like have college degrees now because that was so standard, but they weren't going for teaching. But then there's such a high demand in teaching that's like, we should probably open up a route that people who went and got degrees can.
It's called
come and
option
do
6.
teaching. Yeah.
It's all called option 6 in Kentucky. Like that's what we do. And they like, that's just kind of the term that we even use for like, oh, it's an option 6 teacher. Oh, I'm doing option 6. I don't know what the other options are.
That's nice that your program is like your new job will support teachers like that, because like at the school that I work at, obviously it's higher education, but we don't require our instructors necessarily to have a degree because it's a technical college. So like if you're skilled in what you're teaching and you can prove that you can do it, you do that. But you can, but then they make you, once you have your job, do this program essentially that teaches you how to teach.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's pretty much what it is.
I think a lot of people would be really lost because teaching people is very different than just like knowing the information.
And especially in middle school, a lot of the stuff where a lot of the, commonly observed problems in option 6 teachers have a lot to do with classroom management. Like managing 30 kids while trying to teach content is hard as hell.
Ugh.
And so like in college, I had to do 18 weeks of clinicals where I like taught with a teacher for one class a day for an entire semester. And then 18 weeks of student teaching where I taught with a teacher all day, every day for an entire semester. So like if you're going a traditional route, there is a lot of opportunities for you to be in a class and trial and error and figure this stuff out. If you're not, you're just in a class. You're just standing in front of kids. Like, so yeah, it's hard.
That's not that hard.
You would be not a great
elementary
middle school teacher.
We're still in the market for one more science teacher, so you keep running your mouth.
Or what? You'll give me a job?
Or I'll give you a job. You keep talking smack. Give you a job. No, just kidding. Okay, so my next question is, who determines teacher certifications? Like, who gets to decide a teacher is certified?
Department of Education, which no longer exists, so nobody really knows anymore.
Wrong.
Well, that's good.
It will shock you to know that this is not a national decision, despite what political parties believe. This is another thing that states decide. Education is very much controlled at the state level.
Imagine that. Another thing that's controlled by the state level that people don't fucking realize.
Right. A lot of education is controlled at the state level. The federal level, especially in terms of like K-12 public ed, the federal level literally controls like laws and things, especially in terms of like special ed and what services we have to provide and how often and whatever, and funding. In terms of like day-to-day decision making, that's states and districts. Like I don't understand how. Okay, anyways. So for Kentucky, it's called EPSB. It's the Education Profession Standards Board. For Wisconsin, it's the DPI, the Department of Public Instruction. And this is the organization that determines teacher certification. And typically, it's a similar process. I've gone through the process for both. It's usually you have to fill out an application, and then you have to have transcripts showing your classes, and you usually have to provide a statement of education philosophy, which is a really boring bullshit essay. And then you have to pay a fee, naturally, because money. For Kentucky, I have to pay $85 every 5 years to renew my certificates.
Wow. And your school doesn't pay that?
No, I have to pay it. And like the same across the board. We all have to pay it ourselves. It's $85 every 5 years.
Yeah. It's a privilege to be a teacher.
Yeah, okay. And I mean, the nice thing is, though, once you have a certificate, renewing it is not that hard. Like, you have to have your district sign off that you've spent at least, like, 3 of the last 5 years in a classroom or doing your job. And then they're like, okay, looks good. But
what happens to people who let their like certification lapse?
Right.
Like say like you took off because you had kids and then, you didn't start teaching again until they were in high school.
Right.
So you have like a 15-year gap.
Or it's that, or you've taken a certain number of college credits in that time. So like if you've continued.
So what do they do when you have a lapse though?
Your certification.
You have to take more class?
Usually, yeah, you'll have to take more classes, or you'll have to like restart the certification process. I mean, you don't have to like restart an entire bachelor's degree, but you'll have to start back at square one, showing that you've, taken these other classes and done other stuff and whatever. I don't know. I've never let mine lapse. I have no idea. And then the third part, especially with only for your initial certification, is there's a testing component. Teachers have to take a test to be a teacher. And what test you take depends very much entirely on what subject you're teaching. So for my bachelor's degree,
teachers own standardized
standardized testing. It's called the praxis test, and it's literally just for education. And every state is different about what tests they require for each certification, and also what the passing score is. So it's arbitrary-ish.
Can we talk about the like just insane racket that ETS has concocted for the whole country?
Oh yeah, because praxis goes through ETS too.
Every standardized test, to my knowledge, goes through ETS.
ACT goes through ETS. I think the SAT still goes through College Board. AP goes through College Board.
Oh yeah, that's true. But still, I mean,
the GRE goes through ETS.
GRE. Yep.
Yeah. ETS is like Kelsey's looking like blankly. ETS is like the testing system.
Collectively, between me and you, over our educational career, we've given ETS
$1,000 easy.
Oh, easy.
Easy.
I was gonna say on the order of 2 to 3, probably.
Probably.
Just for
testing.
the right to go take a test through them.
That's crazy.
And it's the wild part is, the part that makes me laugh every time is like, you go through more security to get into one of these testing centers than you do to go through TSA. I promise you. I have to literally.
Well, I do know that.
You cannot bring a cell phone into the testing center. You have to leave it like locked in your car. They like pat you down and do a metal detector. I had to take my glasses off for them to inspect them.
Yeah, I
like,
know that
it's insane.
We have a high school that's on our same like grounds or whatever as the college that I work at. And they have construction going right now, and so they asked if they could
yeah, you were saying this.
Or we would host their people, their AP students. So of course we did, because they could just walk across the field to our school, but we have construction going on also on the roof of that building, and I swear every like 20 minutes the lady's calling me, there's noise again. I'm like, there's fucking construction. I don't know what to tell you. Like, there's no way around it. I'm sorry that there's some noise in there. Your students need to get a real life experience anyways. Hopefully they're fine. Like, and like, I don't know what to tell you, but they had
like you have to
had us bring in extra security stuff. And
like you have to bring your wallet in with you, but you can't bring your wallet into the testing room. You have to put it into like a locker. The only things you can bring with you into the testing room are like a pencil and your driver's license. Like it's
that's how it was for them.
It's insane. But every state does their testing and has their testing requirements a little differently, both in terms of like what tests you have to take and what score you have to be. So for Wisconsin, when I was getting my bachelor's degree, I only needed to take one test to be certified to teach 612 English. It was the English Knowledge and Concept exam. It was multiple choice. It was all about like English language arts stuff. So writing, grammar, mechanics, literature, authors, classic lit, that kind of stuff. One multiple choice test. Well then, knowing we were moving to Kentucky, I decided to look up my requirements for Kentucky. For the same degree program, I needed 3 tests. Luckily, one of them overlapped. One of them was the one that I had already taken for Wisconsin. But then I also had to take the English essay exam, which every time my kids whine about writing, I tell them about this. It was a 3-hour exam where I had to write 4 essays. Yes, correct. And I was terrified going into it. This was this makes me sound old. This was pre-computer testing days. Like, we had a testing booklet for both of those tests. I had a testing booklet. Like, I had to go in, and it was like a huge room where a whole bunch of people were testing on the same day. And I took it over my spring break, and I happened to be down here in Kentucky, like visiting my family. And so I took it up at U of L, and I remember very vividly these two girls in the line behind me talking about, like, no, I think I'm going to pass it this time. I studied my flashcards really hard. I was even up last night studying. They're like, no. This is going to be the time. We're going to do it this time. We worked really hard. We, fixed what we needed to. And I'm like, oh my God, I literally just signed up and rolled up in here. I'm like,
No study.
I'm like, I fucking flashcards. Did I? Jesus Christ, I'm going to fail this fucking test.
Right place?
I was like, I literally just signed up and put the date on my calendar. Like, I've rolled up in here like, time to take a test. So I was terrified. I'm like, I'm going to fail this test terribly. There ain't no way. Passed.
Did you tell them? I didn't even study it.
No, I didn't. Passed. Easy. Done.
Didn't you get a commendation for your score too?
No, not on that one. I got a commendation for my, the third one I had to take was the middle grades principles of learning and teaching. And it's got a multiple choice part and a written part. And it's all about, like, classroom management, teaching strategies, that kind of stuff, like classroom teaching stuff, basics. Like, here's a scenario. What would you do if a parent brought this to your attention? What would you, like, that kind of stuff, like situational.
Yeah.
But you got like a
and
high score certificate.
I did. I got like a certificate when some of my scores, they sent me a certificate. Like, I scored in like the 95th percentile in the nation or something crazy. Like, I had a really high score on that one. See, I am good.
This reminds me of my science Olympiad story.
Oh my God.
We
need to come back to that here in a second. I'm almost done with this, and I have one more. I have very little more. I'm going to need you to put a pin in that because that story is my freaking favorite. So then when I had to do another one of those after I got my master's to get certified in library education. And then I had to do a third one, or a fifth one, I guess, at that point. I don't even know. A fifth praxis test to get my gifted and talented endorsement. And that was just, 3-4 years ago. 3 years ago. So, but those ones were all online, and their scores like pop. Those ones were online. Their scores like pop up right away. And my my still claim to fame is that they give you a breakdown of the different like areas they're assessing and what your score is in that each area. And for the gifted and talented one, my highest area was teaching gifted students. I'm like, hell yeah. And my lowest area, professionalism. I'm like, right, I'm good with the kids, not with the grown-ups. I could have told you that.
Could have told you that.
Didn't need a test to let me know that.
On that one.
Yeah. Last question, and I'll let Jake tell his story because it is the best. How many licenses can a teacher have?
I feel like the amount is
unlimited.
Like, there's no
as many as they want to, and they can get and pass.
There is no
limit. You can have as many as you want. I went like digging through. So there is a system for Kentucky where you can look up people's certifications. Like, you just type in their name, and it'll tell you what they're certified in and when their certification expires and what rank they are. There's 3 ranks, and it just has to do with how much class you've done, how many hours of college you've done.
Yeah.
And so the most I could find of, like, I was just looking at people that I knew, and that I was trying to pick people that I knew have done a lot of things and been in a lot of jobs. 5 was the highest one I could find.
Wow. How many do you have?
4.
4.
I have 4.
Yeah.
Middle school English, high school English, library media, and gifted and talented. Most people.
So all of your friends are slacking.
Most people have 3 to 4.
No.
Most people have 3 to 4 certificates. I mean, after a certain point, most people, because almost everyone is going to have 2, because for a while there was a requirement to get your master's degree for teachers in Kentucky. So you're going to have whatever your bachelor's is in and whatever your master's was in.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So you're going to have at least 2. And so most of the
Go get your master's and we'll pay you
So
$40,000 a
terrible.
year still.
right, they
Yeah.
don't have that
No
requirement
assistance,
anymore.
but required.
Right, they don't have that requirement anymore. They didn't get rid of it in time for me to benefit, but it's fine. That's a whole other story.
Well,
for a
you
whole other
probably
day.
wouldn't be Dr. Berg if they didn't.
I
do the-
know, but yeah. So, and I was only looking at people that I'm like, okay, you've been in this a hot minute and have done several jobs. What are your like? I was trying to think of people who would have several. Most of the people I were looking up were 3 to 4. So,
Nice.
and I mean the only reason I have 4 and not 3 is because of that split in the middle school versus high school certificate. That one certificate
Right.
from Wisconsin turned into 2 down here. So I started my career with
Sure.
2 of them. So for the low price of 4 to 6 years of your time, $85 to get certified. Actually, I think it's $150 for your first certificate application. $85 is the renewal cost. So
Holy shit.
$150 for your application, $200 per test that you have to take. You too can be a teacher.
And $120,000
Asterisk.
in debt.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
$100,000 in debt.
Does not include.
You too can start your career making $30,000. That's not what I make
That
for the
is
record.
so pathetic.
It's pretty bad. I mean, I don't know what the starting salary. I'm gonna look. I don't remember what the starting salary is anymore. But I am going to look while Jake tells his story.
Okay. So this is related to the like walking into a test cold and doing well type thing. Actually I can't take a lot of credit to this for this, but it still is pretty hilarious. In high school I did the science Olympiad in Wisconsin, which was one of my favorite things that I did, which is at the end of the year is a thing that all the high schoolers go to, like at the state level together one day and do like all these different events that are science themed. And I'm pretty sure I've told you this story before, Kelsey. It was probably a while ago. They kind of have
It's not
two
ringing a
different
bell yet.
styles of events in the Olympiad. And there's like building events where you like build something and bring it to the Olympiad and test it on the day there. So like there's like a trebuchet event where you build a trebuchet and try to see if you can launch things the farthest or whatever. And all sorts of those, which are really cool. The other thing that they do is they just do kind of like tests. So it's just kind of a test that you go to and
Show your knowledge of a particular science subject.
Each one is like a specific subject within science that you go to. So they've got all sorts of test events. So me and my friend in high school, we chose to do the oceanography test event because we had just like the previous year did an oceanography like quiz bowl type thing. So we had studied a lot of oceanography. So we're just like, well, we know the content, or like we did spend a lot of time studying the content. Let's just do this test just to do a test one. So we just signed up for it and didn't really think about it.
Didn't read the instructions.
We didn't read the full rules or the event.
This is an important piece of information.
We show up to the event to take the test. We sit down and we notice that every other group in the room has multiple textbooks and calculators.
Oh no.
And we're like,
and like binders of information.
A binder of any information that you wanted whatsoever and textbooks.
Your teacher didn't tell you guys, like, are you sure you want to sign up for this? Or
This is high school. Like the person that ran the science club, like, just let the students like do their part. Like it was just like,
and
go
Jake
sign
didn't
up for it.
read that you could bring in all this material, bonus,
I'm not the only one that didn't read.
all this reference material.
Yeah, so
help
in the
you out in
rules
the
was
test.
like 5-inch stack of reference material or something like that. Like it was measured in the height of how thick of material you could bring or something like that.
Yeah.
So we sit down and we're just like,
with a fucking
wow,
pencil.
we're gonna
They're
we're gonna
just
try
rolling
our
with their-
best,
with
but
their
we're
number
just
twos.
like we were just making.
With a trusty number 2.
Yeah, we literally showed up with a pencil. That
Me
was
and my
it.
Ticonderoga about to kill this.
And we were just making fun of ourselves for the whole time. And like we were doing things like underlining weird words to like make the people who were judging the test think that we were focusing on like weird things in the thing and then answering. It was hilarious. And then at the end, there's like a whole math section. And we had to do long division because we didn't have a calculator. So like and like I didn't know a lot of calculus at the time, but my friend that was doing it with had some calculus experience, so he was doing like longhand calculus on these questions as well. Oh man. So yeah, we were just laughing so much about it. But I mean, we were just like, we just did a bunch of oceanography. We know a lot of it. We tried to do our best. So we go do the test. We're just like, that was hilarious. We did our best, like adamantly, you know, just what we could. And we go back home and like they have to hand grade these, you know, so you don't find out until afterwards. So
Well, yeah, because yours is all a bunch of long division, so they take.
Took extra long.
I mean, we just circled the answer. What do they care? So yeah, so you don't find out. So you find out a couple days later. We go back home, and the day that the scores get posted on, we go take a look at what we got. We won the event.
Oh my god.
The long division and the number 2 pencils.
Yep, we won the event.
Did anybody say anything to you like afterwards? Like,
Did you tell your teacher, like, man, we fucked up?
I don't know if we
Best
talked.
of luck.
I'm pretty sure we told all of our friends that were there with us.
And then you went and they were like, no, you did.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yep. We just
did you
looked
get a
it up.
trophy for this?
I mean, I think we were supposed to get a medal or something like that. I don't think.
Do you
I
need
have
me
it.
to repurpose one of our mini trophies into a
Yeah,
Science
there you go,
Olympiad
yeah.
oceanography trophy
Yeah.
just for you?
So that so that was hilarious. But yeah, we just like looked it up and it was just like 15. We're like 15 because that's like it like goes towards your score for your team for your school.
Oh.
And
Mhm.
15 was the max you can get. We're like 15. We got a 15 on that event? Like that means we won it. Like yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay.
And those other kids were probably just shitting their pants with all of their
Oh,
materials
yeah.
and stuff too.
And Jake's over here
Yeah.
like dicking off with
I mean,
his
how many of
pencil,
them-
like,
How many
whatever.
of those groups probably didn't answer every question because they were spending so much time looking up reference
To double check.
material to find the exact answer.
Mhm.
Jake was like, check my long division.
So and that's the one
so
thing.
Wild. I
yeah.
love that.
So, starting teacher salary in my district. Now, my district is the 3rd or 4th biggest in the state. So that like does impact salary. Bigger districts will, you know, typically you're getting paid a little bit more. So 3rd or 4th biggest in the state. Starting salary for next school year for a teacher with a, you know, bachelor's degree, 0 years of experience, first day on the job is $47,041.
Wow. Yeah, that's not very good.
Yeah, here, now check this out. So we have a whole, like, it's a grid. It shows you, you know, like
Yeah.
what your experience is, whatever. With 14 years, I just finished my 14th year of teaching, which seems crazy to me. I don't know how that happened. 14 years of teaching. I am sitting at rank 1, which is the highest. It goes 3, 2, 1. So rank 1, which is a master's degree plus 60 more credit hours. Rank 1 plus I get a bonus added on top for having a doctorate. How much do I make?
14 years.
So I'm all the way
14
like,
years of progression.
we're looking
every
at
step
this-
that you can take.
this little chart. It goes down from 0 to 30 for how many years, and then it goes from rank 3 to rank 1, depending upon like bachelor's, master's plus 60. So I'm
Are you making?
I'm master's plus-
$68,000.
I'm master's plus
a year.
60, 14 steps down. And then I get a bonus stipend on top of that because I have a doctorate.
Did you hear what I said?
No, what'd you say?
68,000 a year.
Not far off. I make 74,000.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
Because I went into my career in higher education making more than that.
Yeah. Yep.
With no experience.
Yep. This is after 14 years of experience, 3 college degrees, a doctorate.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Yep.
Teachers need to be paid more.
There
I
you go.
did see because
And that's with for over the past 2 years, we've gotten a 10% raise. 6% last year, 4% this year. That's with a 10% raise.
Wow. Our school district is in some financial situations. The school district my kids go to. And
I like how you put that, financial situations.
yeah, there's some situations going on there. Like we had to redo a lot of like the board members and stuff. Anyways,
Oh shit.
so of course it's like public, like you can look up what people's salaries are
Oh, yeah.
and whatnot, but it like they made it like really easy coming off of this last year for like transparency and stuff. So of course I was curious. I wanted to look up my kids' teachers' salaries.
Mhm.
And there's like a teacher that's been teaching for like longer than you have, and they're still making like less than $60,000 a year.
Yeah. 'Cause
Wisconsin's
it's-
been one of the lower paying.
Yeah, because here's the
States.
thing.
That's crazy.
Here's the other thing too. Like, if all you get is like, you have to get degrees to make more money. If all you get is a bachelor's degree, you cannot, because the list ends at 30 years, and then you just stagnate at that 30 years. You cannot make more than I do right now, even after teaching for 30 years, if all you have is a bachelor's
Wow.
degree. You barely do. So
Well,
30 years with a bachelor's degree is 72,000. 30 years with a master's degree is 79.
oh my god.
I will cap out. So I will, with my degree now, if I teach for 30 years, I can make $89,000. That's my
That's
max.
it's just crazy.
That's my
Teachers
max salary.
really must love their jobs.
Right? That's why when people want to be like, teachers be indoctrinating these kids. No, we're not. Like, calm down.
Yeah, right.
I could make just as much at the fucking Target. So let's calm down, people.
Well, and the states thing is kind of like interesting and also upside down, because it's like Kentucky has historically been one of the lowest rated states
In terms of
education wise
performance, like,
for a long
yeah.
time. But that's like
Mhm.
the reason why the teachers have a higher salary, is because they're trying to incentivize people to come to Kentucky to be teachers
Mhm.
so they can get better teachers. So they get paid more, and you have like one of the worst educational states in the country, as opposed to Wisconsin, which has historically been one of the best educated states in the country, and they get paid less because there's not the incentive to go.
And it 100% has
Yeah.
everything to do with the districts, like passing salary increases like we've had. That's entirely a district level decision.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful that I know for a fact our superintendent like nickels and dimes the budget every year.
Yeah.
To try to get more money for the teachers. Like, I know this. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
That's one where you see that superintendent makes the money she does, and it's like
Correct.
she works for that.
I've gotten emails from her at like 1 a.m. I swear this woman never sleeps. It's wild.
Yeah.
I want to look up. I was going to see. So the biggest district is just north of us, and they have like historically the highest paying like teacher salaries in the state, but it's also a very difficult district to work in, so it's kind of,
Yeah.
people pro con that. So
Well, I
it's
just
a
looked
big
up
city.
the big city in our state and the school district that my kids don't go to school at, but it's historically like they have like a 12% graduation rate. I mean, it's
Oof.
terrible. And their first year teachers with a bachelor's degree starts at $50,014.
that's only $3,000
That's
more
not
than
even
here.
enough. You can't even get a studio apartment for that much
No.
in our city. Or like for, that you could afford with that
Right.
much money.
Right. That's insane. So this is saying the most recent one I'm finding, what was this for? Oh, this is 24-25. So here we go. So if I worked in that district, I would make $12,000 more
Wow.
than I make in this district. But
you also would be paying more to live in that area.
I'd be paying more to live in that area, which is part of it. And it's also
Probably
like
$12,000 more a year.
It's a huge district. It is massive because it covers the entire county, and it's not a small city.
Yeah.
So, but the other problem is that it is notoriously not great. They have a lot of equity issues. There's a lot of conversations about the different parts of the district and trying to make things equitable, because there is a very vivid line in the district in terms of like demographics.
Yeah. And they've tried to do a whole bunch of stuff over the last 50 years to try to equalize it out. Like the big controversial one is that they let the people choose where they want their kids to go. That could be anywhere.
So there are, here we go. Oh my gosh.
So that you can be on one corner of the county and say, I want my kid to go to school
and
on
the
other corner of the county.
Bust them there. Busing is a huge
pass the
scandal
law
there.
saying they have to bus the people that
there are
places.
Just for perspective. So the district that I'm in, there are 3 high schools and like an early college / trade program. So like 4 high schools, right? We have 3 high schools plus an early college program plus an alternative school. So if you wanted to like get really nitpicky, we have 5 high schools, 3 official ones, 2 whatever. That the district that we were talking about has 44 high schools.
44 high schools?
44 high schools.
About the same land
shit.
area.
Massive. And applications are weird. I don't know if they've changed. When we first moved down here and I was just kind of applying wherever, you applied to a pool. And they whoever called you, that's the job you took. So it wasn't like applying to a specific school. I don't know if that has changed because I have not tried applying for a job there in 14 years.
Yeah.
So that could be different, but it wasn't, you're not like applying at this school. And so like there are some very good schools and there's some very terrible schools just like anywhere else, but it's such a huge district and there's always controversy about something. And we have,
I just looked up our big school district and there's 36 high schools.
Yeah. So you make more money, but there's like pro cons to it. Like people want to go up there and make more money, but I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good here. I like the district that I'm in. I like, the superintendent that we have. I like the school that I'm at. And so for me, it's worth it to not make that extra money.
For sure.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if it would make enough of a difference for me to want to go there. I
don't think it would.
So,
because you'd have to live there and you'd be spending more money living than the
right.
money you'd be making.
Right. Or even if I didn't live there, I'd have to commute every day. Like, no.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly satisfied here.
Nice.
And there are teachers that, we have 2 teachers that were new to my school this year who came from that district. But then I also have 2 teachers from my school going to that district to try to make more money. So it's like people come and are like, oh my God, I took the pay cut because I couldn't do it anymore. And then people are like, oh, I'm going to go make more money. So it's whatever.
Different set of eyes. Yeah.
It's a person. It's like an individual thing, whatever you want to do. I'm good. I'll stay here.
Yeah.
I've got coworkers that'll bullshit me with an interview. I'll stay here. Like I'm good.
Yeah. You have a good crew there.
I do.
Great. Okay, so what are we talking about next week?
So I have a legitimate suggestion, but then I also have a side suggestion.
Okay.
Okay.
So
side quest and a regular quest?
A regular quest. So I have a regular quest. I have a regular topic prepared for you. But I also have the side suggestion of, do you want to do like a spin-off episode where we each talk about just some topic? Like we assign each other some topic of interest that we know the other person is like
not in our fields, just a random thing.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Do I have to come up with what I'm giving you right now?
I mean, no? Question mark?
I mean, I guess I can say the first thing that came to mind. Well, actually, it's too broad.
Too broad. Bring it down.
I was going to say medicine.
It's very broad. I'm very good at medicine, though. I mean, you can ponder on this and we can come back to it. It can just be like a surprise on our next episode of what it is that we're talking about.
Okay.
It's just to be a
So we do
surprise
the
episode.
normal ones next time, and then we can come up with.
Oh, we're
this
gonna
in
do
mind.
we're gonna do normal
Oh.
ones next time.
Oh, you want us to pick our own topic?
No. Not even us pick our own topics, but us like
She's saying for the listeners, it'll
for
be
the
a
listeners, it'll
Oh.
be a surprise.
I see.
I mean, we could also pick our own topics. That would be a good time too.
I mean, I still like
Why
giving.
don't you guys give me a topic?
We could give you a topic.
We can.
I mean, we could do.
Yeah, let's give Kelsey a topic, and you can. Well, one of us can sit out. You seem like you probably have one that you wanted to give me, is what I'm guessing.
No, I just had one that I wanted to talk about. I was gonna give myself one.
Oh. Well, I can sit out.
No, that's fine. I don't care. But
What were
what
you
I'm
gonna
saying
give
is,
yourself?
like, we don't have to decide this right now, this moment. It can be a surprise for the listeners when we're like, this is going to be our cool side quest episode. Surprise, here's what we're talking about.
All right, I'm fine with that.
Kelsey, you go with
Yeah,
that?
that's cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Love it. So next week's episode will be a surprise.
Until they see the name of the
Surprise.
episode.
Until you see the name of the episode.
Yes, and then people will be so excited to listen to us talk.
Woo!
Yep. Fun. Okay, cool. We'll tune in next week for a big surprise. What's your finger for?
No, I was just gonna say, just to let y'all know that I was thinking more about last week's episode, and I want to do a special relativity part 2 at some point
Oh, love that.
in the future. So I'm just letting you know, so that at some point you can give that to me.
Okay.
For sure. Cool. All right, so next week will be exciting. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at This Wasn't on the Test, on TikTok at
Yeah.
This
At what?
Wasn't
Contact
on the
TikTok? Okay.
at This Wasn't on the with periods in between. I think you can type in This Wasn't on the Test, it'll pop up because that's what like our formal name is on it. Just the handle is fucked up.
And why is it fucked up, Kelsey?
Because of me. Our very own Dr. Jake Berg has his own Instagram now.
I know, it's so cool.
Dr. Berg writes,
You guys
and it's
like
very
it?
cool. So
I do like it.
I like it a
I haven't had
lot,
time to
yeah.
like. I don't know why I haven't told you, but like there was one day a couple days ago where I read something. I'm like, oh my god, this is really like. I didn't realize it was you when it came up on my Instagram feed, and so I'm like, is there what? This is oh my god. And then I was like, Jake wrote this. Like I really like it took me back.
I know. Well, the first one it's the first post that he did. I didn't even like know who wrote. Like I didn't know who it was. I just started reading it, and it started off by saying, "The day finally came. I approached my mother, who immediately noticed the mark on my forehead." And I was like, "What? What is this about?" And I thought you were writing a story. Then I realized it was you writing, and I thought you were writing a story about how you got hit in the head with a baseball bat when you were in t-ball as a kid.
Yeah, that happened.
Oh my god.
And I was like, "Why is he writing about this?" Like, and then I realized that it's some like
A fiction thing. Yeah.
a fiction thing that you wrote. Yeah. So yeah, follow him too. That's super fun. And
That's
join
at
us next
Dr.
week.
Berg writes.
Oh, go
Should probably say.
at Dr. Berg writes on Instagram. Follow us, like us on wherever you get your
Apple,
podcasts.
Spotify.
Download. Yeah, leave us a review. And tune in next week to find out why this wasn't on the test. Thanks for joining.
Bye.
Thanks, bye.